Have you ever struggled with the highs and lows of life? You know, those inevitable swings, whether you be building your business. Sometimes you have more business than you can handle, and other times it seems like everything's just dried up. Or how about your relationships? Those close, intimate relationships with your dear friends or with a spouse. There are moments where we just can't get enough of each other, you know, those highs and then those lows. Perhaps even your health. It's just the way it is. Hi, my name is Ken Kasha. I'm the lead instructor for the Silva Method, and I've been blessed with now going into my 47th year career serving the Silva Method globally. And my thing has been live trainings, helping people take command of their lives, to learn how to develop and trust their intuition, to get into flow for self-improvement. And lately I've noticed I too have fallen into this trap. For example, I've noticed a rash of videos, commentary, if you will, about how to make your growth soar. Here you are, and let's just grow exponentially, whoosh, and take it to the next level. Hey, it sounds great, very promising. And I too, over these years, have from time to time been sucked into that illusion. I've been seduced, and can you relate? Have you? In fact, not too long ago, my thing is live trainings. Marketing is really not my expertise. However, it's necessary to understand, especially today. And I found myself going from one seminar to another, one webinar to another. I amassed literally dozens of 11 by 14 notepads with great information, notes. And it got to the point where I was just overwhelmed. It's like, I didn't even know where to begin. It was just too much. Can you see where I'm going with this? Can you relate? And then I got to a point where I reminded myself that this kind of growth is not sustainable. We get so hungry. Yeah, give me more, give me more. And what happened was I just stopped and reminded myself about the inevitable highs and the lows. And I want to share with you some tips. Real simple, easy reminder that if you'd like to sustain your growth, because what happens usually here, when people soar, if it's not balanced, if it's not grounded, if don't have all of our resources and support systems in place, what happens is, I've seen it all the time, we crash and burn. And boy, when we crash and burn, it's horrible. I've witnessed this in my career, in these many decades. Motivational seminars. Man, they could be so inspiring. They're high. You could be with 1,000 or more people, and it's like, yeah. And most people go home, and Monday morning, nothing's changed. Most people leave. Can you relate? Have you had that experience? Or sometimes people become seminar junkies. Excuse me, I mean no disrespect. I'm just calling it the way I've seen it. And they're so hungry for information, which I think is wonderful. I like to learn. I'm hungry to learn. I'm still learning. I'm 67 this year, and I'm still learning and want to learn. However, in order to sustain the growth, it needs to be grounded to prevent this inevitable soaring and then crash and burn. It's not the information. It's what we do with the information. It's how we integrate it into our lives in a more meaningful way. It's like taking the new information with what we know already, merging it, integrating it in a meaningful way. So let's take a look at a more realistic, more appropriate cycle of personal growth. And by the way, I'm not making this up. This is an educated opinion based on years of studying what we know in psychology, what we know about. Excuse me, I'm off the screen. Sorry about that. And what we know about growth in general. So if you look at it this way, let me just turn this baby a little bit for you. Sustainable growth. Sustainable growth works something like this. We start here. This is what we know. This is what we've accomplished in our business, in our relationship, in our health or well-being. Or perhaps you're an athlete or an entrepreneur. It doesn't matter. In any aspect of our life, we're always growing, learning, and it's a process. Transformation takes time. It's not quick fix. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. I have never in my experience, and I've worked with well over 200,000 people. I've been to 27 nations. I've been to all the seminars just like you. I've talked with the leaders of these seminars. I've had inside information, and it's inevitable. What counts is when you leave the training. So here we are here, we get new information, we read a book, we go to that training, and we grow. We make progress. And then it's inevitable we're going to what? We're going to stop, hit a plateau. But what happens is, if one is not consciously aware, not mindful of this, and this is what I want you to be cognizant of if you're not already, if we start to worry, oh my God, it's worn off, I've lost it, it must have been just a lucky, beginner's luck. And if we start, I know I'm dramatizing it a bit, but that's what that inner crazy voice is like sometimes, that monkey mind that never shuts up, that's so full of doubt because of years and years of limiting, training, conditioning. That's not just going to go away poof like that. You got to work on it. So what happens is if we get to this plateau and we start to worry, oh my God, is it wearing off? Then we will start to regress and we will start to go backwards and we will start to lose all the momentum that we've built up. So how can you prevent that? Well, I choose, and I've been teaching this since I started with the Silva Method in '71 in Boston. When we hit that plateau, that's important. It models what's called the building blocks of life. It's just the way it is. It's the way we are wired biologically, the way we're wired neurologically, and psychologically. There are steps. There's energy, increase of energy, and then there's stabilization, management of the energy. And then there's a new growth, but new growths always take place from a point of stability so that we prevent this. So the key is, this is the key, this point, this is our ideal opportunity to what? Evaluate, where have I been? Where do I want to be? Maybe we need more training. We need the right training. Perhaps we read a book. Perhaps we talk to a good friend. We hire a coach. We practice our meditation techniques. If you're not a meditator, I highly recommend that you develop a practice, especially dynamic meditation, the kind like we teach in the Silva Method or wherever you learn it. But when you get that new information, the new ideas, when you reflect on it, you take the time to think about where you've been and where you are, it's easier then to strategize. It's easier then to create a plan of where you want to go and to develop a plan of action based on that training, based on the new information, based on the coaching, based on what you've read or the research you've done. And then what happens? Bam, we take off again, and we start growing again. And we make progress. Whether it lasts a day, a week, a month, a year, it doesn't matter. The point is, eventually we are going to hit that plateau again. And we are going to hit this plateau over here. And it's your opportunity, our opportunity to what? Evaluate. Okay, what progress have I made? Is this really the direction I want to move in? Is the direction I'm moving in, what I'm studying, in alignment with my values? That's important, because if we're not in alignment with our values, it's a common reason why people crash and burn. It's a common reason why people are dogging it. Because if we're learning things and developing a strategy, listening to others, whoever it might be, and it's not in alignment with our values, we get out of integrity. Integrity, I heard a great definition of it. When we are acting with respect to what we believe in, when we're actually living our beliefs, we're acting in accordance of our values. And if we're not, we create dissonance, we get out of congruence, and what happens is crash and burn again. And we're going to lose it, we're going to lose that momentum, and maybe have to start all over. So my friends, I realize that it's perhaps common sense, which doesn't necessarily mean that you're following the common sense and doing it. You've heard that expression. I've heard some people say it so beautifully. Just because it's common sense doesn't mean it's common practice. That's a Brendan Burchard quote. Great guy, right? So what you're going to do when you hit that plateau, that's the time to get new training. That's the time to read a book. That's the time to hire a coach. That's the time to mastermind with friends. Keep in mind that we become just like the people we spend our time with, most of our time with. So whatever it is helps you to get re-stimulated. One of the things I so appreciate about being in this field so long is, frankly, it keeps me on the money. It keeps me on the mark. Because every time I prepare a class, every time I'm in a training, I'm reminded of these various skills. I get new ideas, new insights. It keeps me in the community. It keeps me in the mindset. It keeps me in the zone, so to speak. Now, you may not have that opportunity yourself. Perhaps you're not in this field as a coach or a teacher, or trainer, or maybe you are. And then you know what I'm talking about. That's why you do it. So it's important that you support yourself and have any resources, whatever it takes, to keep that natural, sustainable cycle of growth and continue that momentum. I hope you find this of value and that just a little bit of inspiration to maybe get you back into reading, studying, asking for help, or whatever is going to help you to sustain that progress. I appreciate you watching. Thank you. And may I just ask you for a couple of quick solids. If you are finding this of value and you're resonating with the message, and you can think of people who would benefit also like you, please share it with them. However it's possible to share the links of this video. And second, well, basically what I'm asking you is it'll help them. It'll help your friend, it'll help you build your tribe, and it'll help support my work. So I want to thank you again for being here. And one day, I hope that I can meet you and shake your hand in a live training